And when you try to train your child up under the same regimen that professional players do, you are asking for massive injury. And a long while back, that was the only requirement to becoming a coach for youth kids, that you could pass. So I have to beg and plead, please, somebody come help me. Parenting a youth athlete is really more art than science. It's very complicated, it's very time consuming, and it takes an enormous amount of energy. You want to be supportive, you want to be encouraging, but try to see it from a child's perspective. They're having to listen to you, to your spouse, to possibly their older siblings, to the coach, to the assistant coach. They don't want to let their teammates down. They're listening to 8 other people screaming at them from the crowd. We're talking about 6, 7, 8-year-olds, sometimes 9 or 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. That's a lot to take in. What we should be doing is setting an environment to where they only need to do 2 things. 1, know what they need to do next, and 2, have fun doing it. And creating an environment that's anything other than that can be detrimental, both in the short and in the long term. In this video, I'm going to discuss the 5 most common mistakes made by parents that I've witnessed, that I myself, as a parent of an athlete, have done. This is Johnny's Kids, and I'm Coach Johnny, a channel designed to remind everyone that the game belongs to them. We live and die with every moment that our kids are out there playing. And we don't want anything bad to happen to them, ever. Or to any child for that matter, ever. But our emotions can get over the top sometimes. We can get a little bit overexcited. Believe me when I tell you that as it relates to being a parent to an athlete, there aren't a lot of people out there that are worse than me and my wife. I mean, we get nuts, ridiculous out there. Okay, so don't feel alone if the things that I say speak directly to you, to things that you're doing. And what I want more than anything, what I want you to take away from all this is maybe taking a step back and just letting kids be kids. Maybe not take away their childhood might be the best place to start. If you did a search on YouTube, if you did a search on anything really, you're gonna find a laundry list of videos that speak to the number one problem that I've seen, that I've done, is to set unrealistic expectations of your child as they play sports. In our minds, we want to see them grow up playing the game that they love and do it for the rest of their lives. And, live a good life and all that comes with that. The problem is that the numbers suggest that your child is not going pro, okay? And there's no way to specifically define which kids are going to go pro. Now, there's an argument to be made, and I've heard this argument before with, players like Lionel Messi in soccer and Ronaldo, and other players like that were seen as, when they were small children, as being above everyone else, and they had the best potential to get there. There's a lot of studies that go behind that, but the one thing that I know for certain is that Lionel Messi and Ronaldo and any of those kids are very much exceptions to the rule. This is not a common thing. And when you try to train your child up under the same regimen that professional players do, you are asking for massive injury. This is exactly what you don't want. There are a lot of different ways you can approach this, but maybe start with not thinking about your 6-year-old as a 26-year-old. Start by thinking about the 6-year-old as a 6-year-old, okay? If your child looks up to a specific athlete and tries to mimic them, support that in a way that you can say they can mimic that player in a way that's fun, not in a, you need to use that as a guideline for the next 20 years. If they're 6, 7, 8 years old, let them be 6, 7, 8-year-olds, okay? Don't try to get them to do more than what they want, because the pressures of sports are going to come regardless. You don't want to add to that. You don't want to put them at risk for injury. You don't want to put them in a bad place where mentally they feel like if they're not scoring, if they're not winning, they are failing you at that age. Okay. Let them find their passion on their own. Support it, encourage it, and let them find it on their own. And then that will carry them for years on end. Try to push it, and they're going to fall into that statistic of the 70% who quit before the age of 13. Don't be that parent. Believe me when I tell you, I struggle with that almost every day. Almost every day. But you're not alone. Okay, you're not alone. So again, this is one of those things that you should feel free to drop a comment and let everybody know how you're doing it, because I might be able to learn something from that. But as a coach and as a parent, that's the number one thing I see constantly, is setting unrealistic expectations for small children. I started my coaching journey back in the mid-90s. And back then, it wasn't that far removed from the time when I was in the Navy. And I was doing contract work as in information technology. So one of the contracts that I picked up was with the DoD. As such, I was required to have a secret clearance. In my time of working in those contracts and where I required those security clearances, I can tell you with absolute certainty that not everybody that gets a security clearance is a good person. Some of them are a-holes, okay? And a long while back, that was the only requirement to becoming a coach for youth kids, that you could pass a background check. There is no test to determine whether or not you are a good coach. There is no test to determine whether or not you're an a-hole. This is where the background checks are needed, but should not be the deciding factor. There are organizations out there, I know for baseball and basketball, for football, like USA Football is a good example, where they have certifications to teach people up, kind of teach them how to be better coaches. I've gone through these certification programs. I've done all the way up through high schools. Some of these training classes, they're mostly online, but some of them are very, very good. There are a lot of good clinics out there. You can get certified that way as well. And this I know for a fact. I can have a top secret clearance. I can be certified from USA Football and still be an a-hole coach, okay? You as a parent have a responsibility to find out who is coaching your kids, okay? Because a certified DoD secret clearance person does not make them a good coach. I know this for a fact because I had all that when I first started coaching, and I was not a good coach, okay? And I had a couple of parents, step to me in those early years and say, and they did it very politely, and they did it very calmly and say, Coach, I got some concerns about how you're addressing the team or how you're dealing with this particular matter. And maybe I have a suggestion, do it if you think it might be helpful, whatever, that sort of thing. And I was very, very receptive to that sort of thing because I wanted to be better. But you know what? Some guys out there, they're not receptive to that. And so you have to ask yourself, where do I draw the line? It is a fine line, and it's very delicate. It's a very delicate matter, but it is your child. And if your child has a passion going in, you want that same passion and fire to exist at the end of the season when they come out. You want them to come back next year. What everybody wants for their kids. And it has been proven that the number one reason why kids quit playing sports is because it's no longer fun. Well, when your child comes to practice every day and he's being met with unrealistic expectations from you, or he's being bullied by the coach, and the coach doesn't know what he's doing, they're going to quit. When I was a kid, when I started playing sports at 6, 7, and 8 years old, different sports at those age groups, I didn't care about wins or losses. That meant nothing to me. In fact, I'm sitting now thinking back, I can't even tell you a single score from any game that I played before the age of 12. All I wanted to do was go out there play with my friends, and I wanted to learn so that I could be a better player, because that is what made me happy. That is what was fun to me, was learning and getting better, and laughing with my friends and doing stuff with them in every sport year round. Wins and losses only matter to the adults. It only matters to parents and coaches. Make the focus of your child's athletic experience about them learning and having fun. Ask the question, who is teaching my child? If you start noticing your child is not having fun, or they're being disappointed, or they're being heartbroken by the very game that they wanted to play and love, you need to step in and maybe approach the coach. That should be your first step. Coach, hey, maybe we approach this differently, just an idea, and then leave it at that, see what happens. That doesn't work, take it to the administrator. That doesn't work, then maybe you might want to look for a different league for your child. Don't be afraid to have these conversations. You're the parent, you have that power and authority. Don't feel like you have to sit there and take it. Don't feel like your child has to sit there and take it. I have always told parents from the beginning, you can be a part of the solution or you can be a part of the problem, but you can't have it both ways, okay? If there's any point where you feel like the coach needs help, get the background check, okay? Go to the clinics, buy the books, ask the questions, become a part of the process, join the coaching crew, okay? There are not a lot of coaches out there that have an entire staff of coaches that they carry around with them. I didn't. When I came in, it was just me. And it seems like, that was the mid-90s. We're now in 2022. And every time I walk in to start a new season, it's still just me. So I have to beg and plead, please, somebody come help me. Be a part of that process. And please, don't use the excuse of, and I hear it every time, don't use the excuse of, well, I've never coached before. Okay. Let's say, for example, Bill Belichick, who's won like 9 Super Bowls in the NFL. There was a time and there was a place where he had never coached. And then one day he did. Do not misunderstand me. I am not suggesting that if you come and help me coach, you're on the fast track to winning a national championship. No, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. You're not going to win a World Cup at an international level on a soccer game. You're not going to win the NBA championship. Okay. You're just going to coach your kid. But being involved and being a part of that process, okay, helps not just your child's development, but it helps your coach, okay? And it's a win-win for everyone across the board. I'm not going to lie to you. It is challenging. It is time-consuming. It is just physically demanding. And it is incredibly rewarding, okay? Be a part of the process. Don't just be throwing rocks in the cheap seats. That's not fair. Not to your child, not to your coach, not to you. Becoming part of the coaching staff is an individual choice, and you're not required to do so. And I don't want everyone to ever feel like they have to do it for their child's success. It's not what I'm saying at all, okay? But if you're not going to do that, you need to find a way to disengage. And what I mean by that is when a child plays a game, they got everybody in their ear, okay? The coach, assistant coaches, their teammates, you, your spouse, family members, other people in the stands. The game, any game they play, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport, any game they play, the moment that they have to do something, that comes with an enormous amount of pressure, okay? Let's remove some of that pressure away. Let the kids play. Okay, the only voice they need to be hearing is the coach. Let the coach give his instruction. If you trust this coach, if you've already determined, yes, this is the person I want coaching my child, then let them coach your child, okay? On the practice field, on the game field, on the court, in the swimming pool, wherever it is that your child is competing, let the coach do their thing. You have to make that decision early on to allow that person to do it, and then you have to actually let them do it, okay? There's going to be a lot of fanfare, a lot of hoo-ha going on during the game. And those kids, all they want to do is go out there and have fun. But if you replace the fun with all they want to do is to please you or just to please the coach, and they stop having fun, it's exactly what we don't want. I mentioned earlier that there aren't a lot of parents when it comes on game day that are worse than me and my wife. We're loud, we're obnoxious, we're working on it, all right? It's just hard not to get involved when your kid is out there doing their thing. Stuff just comes flying out of your mouth. We've never been disrespectful. We always made it a point of respecting the refs and the coaches, as long as they're doing right by the children, not even just my child, by all the children. I will not allow a referee to go out there or a coach to go out there and exercise their own personal demons on my child or any child, okay? You have a responsibility. Do your job, okay? Do your job. And as long as they do, all you'll ever hear is us being, loud. It's okay to be loud in the sense of being encouraging. It's not okay to be, trying to tell them what to do from the stands, trying to give them instruction on what to do. There's a guy on the field that already does that. His name is Coach. And if you're that engaged, if you're that emotionally attached, maybe you should join the coaching staff to allow you to do that. But the stands is not the place to be throwing out instruction. The only thing you should be doing is providing encouragement. Encouragement. No criticism, no boos, even if it's the opposing team. Okay? No nonsense yelling, no instruction, nothing. All cheers all the time. Okay? It's different when you go to a pro game or even a college game. You don't do that to kids, okay? Let the coach do his job. Let the refs do their job. And if you have an issue with it, there are officials that you can go to and say, hey, that ref putting the kids in danger. Hey, that opposing coach, he's doing some things that I know for a fact are against the rules. There are people there who will listen to that, okay? They'll look into it and they'll do their appropriate investigations. You should not be doing that from the stands. You shouldn't be fighting against other parents. You shouldn't be complaining verbally ever. All encouragement, all the time, or simply put, don't show up, okay? Because you're not doing any good to anyone, especially your kid. Because now they gotta live with that, okay? That's embarrassing to some kids. I know it was embarrassing to my kids. They told me so. In the end, as parents, all we really want is our kids to have fun. The moment the fun goes away, the first thing that we should do, instead of placing blame, is to try to figure out what went wrong. Where did the fun die? Was it the coach? Was it me? Was it the sport? Was there an outside interest? Some kids quit playing sports because, not many, but there are some kids who quit sports because they find more joy in, art or dance, singing, whatever it is. Are they gonna stop being your child because of that? Listen, I'm not gonna tell anyone how to raise their child, but I'm pretty sure the majority of people will say, hey, if sports is not their thing and singing and dancing is, well, let's support that, let's encourage that, okay? I made the mistake early on in my daughter, I wanted her to play sports. I was young, I was naive, I was, kind of stupid. All she wanted to do was draw. That's all she ever wanted to do. And I learned a lesson that I should have been more supportive of that when she was younger, and I wasn't. And I have to live with that. But I actually was able to support her later on when she became an adolescent. And I started thinking, if she doesn't play sports, that's fine. I still want to be a part of her life. And so what I started doing was I started supporting her arts. And eventually she ended up getting a scholarship with the Kansas City Art Institute once she graduated from high school. I was so proud of her. And I thought, man, this feeling that I'm having right now, I should have had that when she was 6. And I didn't. I didn't support her properly. My next daughter, first chance I got, I started supporting her arts. Athletics wasn't for her. She wanted to be a photographer. I jumped on the support wagon there. As an adolescent, she went into high school, started taking more advanced photography. She ended up winning awards in high school for her photography. She's incredibly talented. She's incredibly good at it. I now have a 6-year-old. My 6-year-old loves to run all the time, okay? So I put him into soccer, loves it. I'm coaching his soccer team right now. At the same time, I'm also, basketball season starts. I'm coaching his basketball team as well. which, this was his first exposure to basketball, and he's just not good at it. But man, he loves it. He loves being part of the team. He loves having teammates. He's super encouraging to his teammates. He likes running all up and down the court, even if he does nothing. Lucky for me, though, he instinctively understands the concept of defense, oddly enough. So he's never going to be a Michael Jordan, but he's both on the soccer field, or in other countries they refer to as the pitch, or the basketball court. On offense, not good, but on defense, he's really good, which makes it kind of fun to watch, actually. But another thing that he likes to do, he likes to sing and dance. That's his thing. Like he'll see musicals and he'll learn the songs, and then he'll start learning the dance routines, and he'll put on a whole performance right there in the living room for us, And I encourage that too. He doesn't draw. He doesn't, do any of the other arts. I'm not sure where he is mentally with the sciences, but time will tell. Whatever his adolescence dictates is his thing, then that's what I'm going to support. And I encourage everyone to do the same as it relates to sport. Some kids are just naturally good at certain sport. Encourage that, but don't set unrealistic expectations. Don't come down on them so hard when they make a mistake. Those are learning opportunities. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes through their entire athletic career, even if they make it all the way through high school. So we have a responsibility to play our role as parents, and we only have one, and it is to encourage. Okay? You get that right, your child will play until they decide, I want to do something else. And then you can go and encourage that, or they find the fire and the passion within themselves, and then you get to reap all the benefits of watching them continuously have fun. If you made it this far, first, thank you. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. If you subscribe, you get to find out when the videos come out first. You'll be right there in the front of the line. If you like the video, it increases the chances of somebody else watching the video and them also contributing possibly in the comments. Then we can have a conversation and strengthen and grow the JK tribe. If you get the opportunity, please do so. It really helps the channel out. Thank you, and have a blessed day.